So we're gonna start off with the archers here and then couple them with the musketeer. And it looks like he has his goblin hut, which is a great defense, paired up with his knight and a musketeer behind, so that's very good. And I'm going to use my own spear goblins to counter his musketeer here, disallow her to deal any damage onto my towers. And now I'm going to send out my giant. He has now sent out his witch card, but the bomber is very good. You can use the giant as a shield against the witch. Witch is very weak. She does splash damage, but she's very weak. And here I'm going to use the fireball because he has a bunch of troops clumped together, so that fireball is going to take them all out pretty easily. Looks like I still have my giant, but he is being weakened. So here I'm just going to send out my prince. He sent out minions. Unfortunately, the minions are not going to stop my prince from charging straight into that tower. So he's gonna deal some extra damage, and then I can use my spear goblins to destroy the minions. So far it's looking very good. So again, I'm just gonna load up on elixir. I'm not gonna try to counter that goblin hut, no point in doing so. I'll just let it deal some residual damage onto that tower on the left. And now I'm gonna send out my giant since I now have a loaded elixir bar. He's gonna send out his knight. Okay, now I do know he has a witch, I know he has a musketeer, but whatever it is, I can combine my giant with my musketeer behind and remove that knight. And then I can now combine my giant with bomber. Unfortunately, he used a fireball very cleverly, took out my bomber. So here he sent out his minions. I have a weakened musketeer. No point in sending out prince or my goblins at this point. I'm just gonna load up on elixir because those troops were already weakened, so they weren't gonna protect me anyway. And here I'm gonna use my fireball. Barbarians are very good at countering the prince, so using a fireball to weaken and destroy those barbarians is a very good way of countering that, allowing our prince again to deal damage. And here the prince again is shielding for my bomber. Musketeer is your strongest attacking unit next to your prince. Always try to use her and always try to use her behind one of your melee troops, such as your prince or your giant. Again, we're going to use archers here, and now we're going to focus on the left side. We're just going to use a fireball here to take care of the barbarians there. And it looks like time's running out, but we're up by a tower, and it looks like we're going to win this. Good game. So plenty of ways to counter the witch. You can use the bomber behind your giants. You can use your musketeer behind your giants. So as you can see, this deck is very balanced against all other threats that you're going to face around these lower arenas, against witches, baby dragon, opposing prince, skeleton armies, and so on. Okay, lastly, I want to share a recent attack that I've just done against a level 8 player, and I beat him with this deck, a deck full of Arena 1 cards and the Prince, and I'll show you just how solid and great this deck is. So I'm going to start off by loading up my elixir. Always start off with the loaded elixir. He's going to start off with the wizard, so I'm going to send out my giant to shield against that wizard threat, and then I'm going to combine my giant with a bomber behind because he is sending out low hit point troops, so I'm going to use that bomber's range, and then I'm going to combine it with the musketeer. I'm going to deploy the musketeer away from the other troops. Always try to separate your troops, never clump them. That's one of the biggest mistakes I always see people make, is that they clump their troops all the time. That's a huge mistake. Never clump your troops. Try to avoid clumping as much as possible, because that's just going to make it very easy for area damage cards such as a fireball to deal a lot of damage onto multiple troops with just one spell card. So yeah, always try to avoid clumping. So here I'm going to send out my prince and combine them with my goblins. Unfortunately, he had a skeleton army, so I had to take it out with an arrow. But as you can see, I'm still in the lead. I've dealt some damage onto his tower, and he hasn't touched my tower yet. So here I'm going to again use my giant, load up on elixir, send out my bomber behind, which is going to take out his wizard. Bomber is also another very underrated card, just like the musketeer. So here, archers are also very underrated. Archers actually have very decent hit points. As you can see, they're taking multiple hits from those minions, and we're actually able to take out the whole minion horde with the giant shielding. So I'm still in the lead and he still hasn't touched my towers. But here he's gonna send out a golem. And yeah, obviously you're not gonna face any golems early in the game. They are very tanky and slow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna focus on attacking on the other side because the golem is very slow. No point in wasting my time trying to attack it at that point. So I try to take the advantage, attack on the other side, use my arrows to remove his skeleton army. And then I'm gonna combine my musketeer behind with some spear goblins. And still I was able to deal a lot of damage, but his golem had made it all the way towards my tower on the left, and it's gonna explode and deal a lot of damage. And he's also gonna combine it with the horde of goblins and skeletons. So I'm gonna send out my bomber behind the prince, try to weaken it. But again, he still has a lot of troops, horde of troops going after my tower. So I'm just going to play it cool. I'm not going to try to counter it. I'm just going to sacrifice that tower, load up on elixir. And then what I'll do is now focus on combining my troops, making that combo with prince, bomber, and musketeer. An excellent combination that's very hard to stop. As you can see, he sent out a skeleton army, but my bomber quickly took it out. He has 172 hit points on that. I'm going to finish it off with that fireball. Fireball is very good at that. And here I'm going to send out my musketeer on his golem on the right. You're going to use the arrows to remove the low hit point troops. And the musketeer is a very powerful troop. She's very underrated. I'm going to send out my giant and have my musketeer behind. I took out his golem. And here just going to use my combination of giants with my ranged troops, my archers and musketeers. And as you can see, the archers lived off the arrow damage, and that's another underrated aspect of the archers, is that they can live off of arrows while spear goblins can't. So yeah, a successful attack win against someone higher level than me, stronger than me, level 8, and was able to win with this deck. So hope you guys enjoyed watching this and learned a lot. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe if you haven't, because I'm going to have a lot more strategy content for this channel on Clash Royale. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again later.